Yes, exactly, he writes. A variety of explanations have been given by various McDonald's associated sources. According to one explanation, he's a giant taste bud.
Gross.
What? Gross. That's how I reacted too. Yet others, provided by McDonald's over the years, is that he's, quote, the embodiment of a milkshake, or a child in all of us. Or they've admitted possibly a taste bud. So they didn't have any idea. That's funny. He's the child in all of us. Yeah, that's it. Adding further confusion to the fire is that Grimace is apparently a species. There are other relatives and fellow blobs living on Grimace Island. So Grimace being named Grimace is sort of like a person being named human. Oh, and by the way, the first time he appeared in a commercial, he was evil and had 4 arms. The point is, with all this speculative bordering on body-shaming analysis, if anyone deserves to have a happy birthday, it's Grimace.
He's
Pretty
52 years old, by the way.
Is he? He's in his 50s. Well, he should stop eating his own product at that age. I did mention the other day that, what is the ice cream thing they have at McDonald's? The Blaster? What is
McFlurry?
it? The McFlurry. That's a good dessert, man. An ice cream dessert. If you're going to get an ice cream dessert, do not pass up McDonald's because you think you're too good for it. That's a good ice cream dessert.
And they have fabulous coffee, too.
Yeah, and we won't start on the French fries. So you had the 2 presidential candidates start talking yesterday. Chris Christie and Mike Pence.
3, really, with the Doug Burgum from North Dakota, who seems like a great fella.
Yeah, he does, and I was just reading one of my favorite pundits' analysis. He said, you want to hear some really good stuff? Check out Burgum's announcement, and he linked it, and I might watch that later today. So this guy's probably doesn't have a chance because of name recognition and all that sort of stuff, but he had a really good message and really well delivered.
You know,
he didn't spend the whole time bashing Trump, so it's not going to make the news.
Right. I was on the elliptical watching Neil Cavuto yesterday, and he was talking to Doug Burgum, and I reacted as I just reacted. Wow, what an interesting guy. He's very smart. I love his policy stances, etc.
Yeah, rather.
But I've got to admit, it annoyed the hell out of me, and I like Neil Cavuto, but he's led with you're unknown, you're blah, 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 how can you possibly have a chance? And Burgum fended it off quite nicely and started to get into policy. Then Cavuto went back to the horse race stuff. And then a 3rd time, he went back to the horse race stuff. And Burgum was game, and he was cheerful. You could tell he was getting a little vexed. He's like, okay, I've already answered that a couple times, but I'll answer it again. We're going to go out and meet the people of the great states of America and tell them what we believe and expose them to our message and the rest of it. And I think part of it is laziness in the media. But, and it's okay if you're into the horse race thing, because, Jack, I know you are. But to go immediately to that, we're months and months and months away from voting.
You shouldn't start there. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Why are you running? What do you believe?
No, that would make sense maybe if it's the week before the debates and you don't qualify or something to ask why are you still doing this. But from day one, that's a terrible angle.
And just repeatedly in the same interview. I don't know if he didn't have time to get prepared or... Because Burgum's thing is the economy, energy, and national security.
Mm-hmm.
Really good, solid, kind of Plains state, spoken, really smart guy, bedrock Republican platforms. Good stuff. I don't think he's quite charismatic enough, but policy-wise is good stuff. So, come on. Let's ask these people what they believe and what they would do as president. Can we, I don't know, do that for a week before we get into, you're at 1%, how can you possibly, blah, blah, blah.
I was on the Cavuto watching the elliptical, so we had similar afternoons. Maybe we'll, so I wanted to slip this headline in, and then maybe we'll take a break and get to some of the Pence and Christie stuff that's pretty good. So we all know the Saudis have, is it overstating it to say they've kind of taken over the world of professional golf? Is that overstating it?
They have now got, they are squarely in the control. They're not in control. All over the world.
The whole world. So they were hoping to do that with soccer. And so the way they lured away a whole bunch of the golfers with just insane amounts of money They're trying to do with soccer, but like the biggest star in the world, Messi, I don't really know him, other than I know he's one of the biggest, Lionel Messi is one of the biggest stars on the planet. He turned him down, even though it was an insane number. Nobody knows the number for sure, but it was one of those hundreds of millions, an offer too good to refuse. But he refused it, and he's going to play for a USA team. And I don't know, I haven't heard him specifically say it was because of who the Saudis are or anything. Have you? Almost has to be.
I wonder. That's a good question. I'd like to hear from the man. I'm sure he'll comment carefully at some point.
Yeah. But so that their big attempt to take over soccer, the way they've taken over golf, took a big step backwards. I don't think it'd probably be good if a country like Saudi Arabia is running a lot of big cultural worldwide stuff. What do they call that? Sports washing?
Yeah. Well, they're trying to accomplish exactly what concerns you. We become so entangled with them, like we are with the Chinese, that when they, unleash evil or try to extort the world through oil prices or whatever, we can't push back nearly like we used to be able to.
That's interesting. So MBS, the leader of Saudi Arabia, probably looks at China and the relationship to the United States and says, what gives here? What are you beating up on me, calling me a pariah? Look at what China does every day, but all the iPhones are made there, and every shoe in America practically is made there.
Now, Mr. Crown Prince, don't go chopping off my lips or anything for me saying this, but the key is to get entangled with the Americans in multiple businesses.
Right, and as we mentioned yesterday, how many times did I hear the name Khashoggi during this whole golf thing? One dissident that Saudi Arabia, they've murdered many dissidents, but you throw out one name, China does it all day, every day. They took over an entire city, Hong Kong, one of the great places on earth.
How often do you hear the NBA bring up Jimmy Lai, for instance, the great freedom crusader in Hong Kong?
Yeah, interesting. Well, anyway, so their attempt to take over soccer took a big step backwards yesterday. So we'll hear a little from Chris Christie. Is he going to take on Trump and how? And a little from Mike Pence, who's the most earnest man on earth.
My final thought on the Saudi thing is I just hope they don't start throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at talk show hosts to try to bring them over. If they do, the email address is mailbag@armstrongandgetty.com.
I like a dry heat.
I look good in white robes.
I'd ride a camel as soon as a horse. No problems there. And I also
they
agree.
They frighten me. They're very big when they spit.
And I agree. Women shouldn't drive. So it'd be an easy... it'd be an easy transition. Much more on the way.
Armstrong and Getty.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm.
I think I could get gap slide nut. What if I took off with someone else? Yes, what? Oh, of course we only at the gas station. Yes. pumps. Hate those type of pumps. They don't fucking work. Damn. They don't work. I don't like that type of pump. Buttons don't work. I hate that. Break your finger is trying to use it. Oh, I'm going to the other pump if I can. This is ridiculous. I'm not playing this at all.
Is that the only reason he said just whatever? Whatever. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, I love Brett Baer. I think he's honorable and smart and the rest of it, but so much of the media is so conventional. The questions are always the same. They're so predictable. It's such a, it's a parent show in so many ways.
Here's the Jake Tapper on CNN version of a similar thing with Chris Christie.
In 2016, you ran, you placed 10th in Iowa, 6th in New Hampshire before getting out of the race. What is going to make this year different?
Well, the whole atmosphere is different, Jake. In 2015 and 16, when we ran the first time, you had a situation where Donald Trump had no record to speak of. He had been on a TV show, had been a developer, private developer in New York. There was no way to really make the case against him. We I think all of us, myself, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Ted Cruz, all found it very difficult to make the case because he could say whatever he wanted to say. There was no proof point to prove that he couldn't do it.
Yeah, so I read some good analysis of the Chris Christie thing yesterday that I thought was pretty good in terms of trying to get the Republican nomination. For Trump loyalists, he's obviously a traitor and a turncoat. For people who don't like Trump, he's come on, you're just an opportunist. You're perfectly willing. You know exactly who and what Donald Trump was. You wanted to be his attorney general. You were willing to do anything you could to be in his cabinet. And when he turned on you, now you're all of a sudden, you're too good for him. And that's some pretty good analysis. I mean, because that marks out a lot of the crowd of the Republican, voter out there.
It's a valid point.
Yeah. I just like this because Jake Tapper brought up the video that you mentioned yesterday. The Trump people put out of Chris Christie sitting at a buffet table eating. What was the
It was a Photoshop of him at the town hall, but with a big buffet in front of him. It said all you can eat.
It was a fat joke is what it was. Tapper asking Chris Christie about that.
Ran a rather mocking video on social media. There it is. It's you. I guess he's making fun of your weight. That's his response. What did you make of that? What was your response to that?
When I saw Jake, it just renewed in my own mind what a child he is. He's a baby. Whenever you want to criticize him, in any way, that's the way he responds. And you and I are both lucky enough to be parents. And if we had a child who conducted themselves like that, we'd send them to their room, not to the White House.
Yeah, all right.
Use that same line with Brett Baer.
But that's a guy who I'll always remember when he got into a dust-up with some opponent of his. Chris Christie talked about how he was a star athlete in high school and the other guy was a nerd. And I thought, okay, I'm not sure that's much different than the fat joke, so...
Chris Christie's a very smart guy. He's very verbal. He was a prosecutor, and he is definitely going to be a thorn in Trump's side. It's just impossible to see how it plays and where it goes.
Right. So who's Tim Pool? I know he's a name I should know. He's a online somebody or other.
Commentator, agitator, writer, activist, conservative.
Anyway, he has a tweet out today. The DeSantis War Room is running AI images of Trump embracing Fauci. And there are some pictures floating around on Twitter of Trump hugging Fauci. I don't know if did he ever actually hug him or not? I don't really know. But bringing up the point that a number of people have made is that in our current setting, and I don't know if there's any way to break out of this, an official campaign photo picture joke versus a PAC picture video photo joke versus just a supporter who puts it online and it starts getting retweeted or whatever.
Well, my campaign director could personally tweet something, for instance.
Right.
That's not an official tweet.
Right, or that, or just a random person who likes you.
Sure.
Who puts it together, are all lumped together now. There's really no delineation between somebody who came up with something really snarky and is funny versus an official ad. So I don't know how candidates themselves control that, or if they want to. I don't even know. Or how we as the public interpret it. But like a dirty, there used to be dirty campaigning or going low or mudslinging or whatever. There's going to be so much mud slung by people that you didn't ask them to sling the mud. You didn't pay them to sling the mud, but they're slinging the mud. And we voters aren't really paying much attention between the official stuff and the non-official stuff, don't you think?
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be wild and woolly.
Does that absolutely just mean every campaign will obviously be very, very dirty and there'll be lots of mudslinging? I mean, there'll be no getting away from it now.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't that very many years ago. There's no way I was going to see a video about a politician that wasn't official. It'd just be impossible. Who could make the ad buy to get it on TV or radio? Nobody.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
How much time we got, Michael? We're out of time for a little Mike Pence. I wanted to get a little heartfelt Mike Pence. We'll get to that later, I guess.
He's very sincere. He reminds me of watching a movie from the 80s. You think, boy, I remember this being really good, but it's so slow-paced.
I don't know that more snark and mudslinging is good. It's probably not, but there's no getting away from it. There's no getting away from it. And then campaigns will start to realize that, and they will kind of secretly feed that to people, I suppose. Hey, here's an idea. Have you thought of this? You know what happened?
Oh, yeah. 100%. They're PACs? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hot and cold, run and snark.
Awesome. Let's have our politics get even